欢迎收听 Project Tenacity， 一个分享工作与创业资讯的 podcast， 希望在每一期的节目中带给在北美工作的华人就业和创业的资讯。其实我们一直很想请到在科技领域里面的创业家，这期请到了 Peter and Yvonne， 聊聊他们即将启动的网站 YourTable。从2018年开始 ，Peter and Yvonne 经历了包括合伙人离开的种种挑战，希望这期节目能为想创业的听众们带来一些参考。听众们可以在 Spotify 和主要的 Podcast 频道以及 YouTube 上面找到我们，也不要忘了到 Facebook、Instagram 和 LinkedIn 留言、按赞、分享，谢谢大家。
So I have Peter and Yvonne in a room with me, and who are the CEO and COO of YourTable, which is based on my preliminary understanding a platform for people to meet over food and meals. And then I'm definitely honored to be invited into a space that is called OnRamp. And which is a joint venture between U of T Entrepreneurship and RBC. We'll talk a little bit about that more into the podcast. But Peter, I just wanted to start off the podcast with your journey. So where did you start off in college, university? Which one did you go to?
Yeah, well, thanks for having us here. It's a pleasure to be here. I went to University of Toronto, and I studied CCIT and PWC, which is short for Professional Writing and Communication. And afterwards, I actually dived straight into the restaurant industry, where I was a part of the Mandarin franchisee training program. So that's where I did their training program to eventually franchise Mandarin of my own in the future. So I did one year of that, and I realized that wasn't for me. Like, the program itself is very good, but it's one of those things where you have to try it to understand whether you fit or not. So then afterwards, I had I worked in sales, and also I had I started a computer repairs company where I went on site to repair computers as well. Throughout the whole time, though, I always wanted to do something, to make a difference. And I feel like a lot of times, I just couldn't find, it's hard to find people to eat with. Mm-hmm. That was a big personal problem for me. After graduation, yeah. A lot of times you're busy with work. Your friends are tied up, with family obligations, and yep. you're located all different places. You don't want to eat with your coworkers every day, right? So so that's when I started seeking out co-founders, and that's how I met Yvonne, and we had another co-founder as well. So there were three of us.
So before we dive into YourTable, which I have tons of questions on, but I just want to touch a bit on the program that you just mentioned, which you stayed for a year, which is a Mandarin franchise program.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on what they do, and how did you make the decision to I guess enter in the first place and then leave after a year?
Yeah. So so for the first 2 years, you have to work at I worked at a Mandarin where, I was I trained in different areas of the restaurant, mm-hmm. Including the front and the back. And the 1 year was at the head office during the training. And we had classes, we had group activities, presentations, and on top we had work. And we rotate between different areas. Like, you could be a bartender for a few months, and then you can be directing the takeout for the drivers. It could be servers. It could be just all over the place.
But in college, you were a computer science major, or CCIT, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Right.
So that stands for Communication, Culture, Information, and Technology.
Yeah.
It was a joint program between UTM and Sheridan College.
So how did you bridge over to the program, because that's something so different?
Yeah. I love to eat. I love to eat food. Food is, I love food. Food is definitely my passion. And in high school, I worked for Starbucks. Mm-hmm. Right? I worked for Starbucks, and so I think hospitality is something that I'm really passionate about.
Right.
Just serving people.
Right. And then after that, you move on to a repair shop for computer, right?
Yeah, so that was in around 2013. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I started my own computer repair shop.
Yeah.
It was called Call and Relax. So I thought it was a good name.
Very intuitive.
Yeah. Just hope that you call with the computer virus and you just relax. I'll take care of it. Right.
I see. And then that, I guess, are you still on that gig, or?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that ended with these, I guess that marks the start of your, entrepreneur journey.
Definitely, it was a pause, and I just wanted to figure out what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to dive into something, I don't want to rush into something that quickly. So we started, I think Yvonne and I, we met our other co-founder, I think it was roughly, was it 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2016, end of 2016.
And there's just a lot of bumps along the way.
Yeah.
Right. But to get to where we are, where I am now, I can only give thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
I wanted to, now we're on to the app itself, YourTable. So I guess my first question is, what does the app do?
Yeah, so it's going to be a web platform at first.
Okay.
We were originally developing a native iOS app, right? That was when we had our other co-founder as well. And, for events that we can't control, we had to scrap that and then just, scrap the app development and go with the website. Mm-hmm. But we do plan to launch the app versions in the future.
Right.
So YourTable. So at the heart of what we do, we are the LinkedIn for food. We're connecting foodies together. We're connecting strangers together through food, which is the universal language, and we want them to eat the meal and network at the same time. Mm-hmm. So we're solving the problem of people eating out alone because they have no choice.
Right.
So our market would be towards students at universities and college, and also young professionals. You said those who are early on in their careers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. To follow up on that, because I'm totally not familiar with the meat over food, realm. Haven't been using the app. Yeah. So I've done some research before the podcast, and there seems to be apps like Eat With and Traveling Spoon.
Yeah.
And so how do you distinguish yourself? Because at this point, I know YourTable hasn't launched yet.
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. We get asked that a lot. So, Traveling Spoon and Eat With, they're pretty much the same thing. The concept is the Airbnb for food. So, the host would invite people over, strangers over to their place, where they charge them per head, a meal that they prepare for them, mm-hmm. right? So, this could work in other countries, including the US, but it won't work here, in Canada. Just in Ontario, there are very strict food and safety regulations, right, for a restaurant.
Yes.
And if you want to sell food out of your place, Your property they have to be inspected, they have to be zoned, and you have to make sure that it's away from other parts of your living space. Mm-hmm. So they're really big on food safety, contamination, right? So it's not legal here. So I'm trying to say, right? So that's number one. That's how we're different. And two is when you're inviting all these strangers to your home, it's like a mass networking event kind of, right? Because for the host who's hosting the event, they obviously want to maximize their table and they want to bring as many people as possible so they could earn a lot more money in that one day, right? But then you have the problem of not being able to kind of network in the quality, very, just an intimate setting. I think anything over 4 is way too much for a first meeting, right?
It gets a bit too much.
Yeah, you can't really get to know someone. Right? Once you pass the number, how well can you get to know someone for the first meeting, right? So for us, we're keeping it 4 or under, and we want to. So that's where we offer the comfort and the safety in a public space, which are restaurants that they choose. Yeah. And also we offer them the ability to network with others who share their interest in food and also work industries.
Right. Another topic I'm very interested in is how did you came up with the idea? Is this completely original, or did you see other apps working and functioning, perhaps not in North America, in other regions of the world as well? How did you came about the idea, and what made you want to, I guess, commit into this idea?
So we were actually working on something else at the start of our journey. We were actually working on a WeChat marketing platform to Canadians, right? So we wanted to capitalize the WeChat platform to market Canadian brands to the Chinese demographic. Oh, I see. Yep. So initially we did that, but halfway through we were just like, wait a minute, if we just wanted something that we have leverage of, and something like this we don't have a lot of. If we were successful, a lot of times perhaps, WeChat could just take over. So then, and I thought about, and it was just something that because the average person you eat 3 times a day, right? So. But and I just thought about like the problems that I have, and then throughout, and I remember just throughout after graduation to until when I was working in sales. So in sales, I was at the Exchange Tower, where a lot of times during the lunch hour, you got a bunch of people just eating alone in the food court. I know. Right? That's just crazy, right? So and it was including me. I was one of those. I was one of the first.
Swarm of people rushing down to the path.
Right. So I was constantly eating alone, and a lot of times, because of how I work, a lot of times I'm also eating spontaneously. Right. So it's very hard to arrange a meal with someone, constantly for 2 or 3 times a day. We're so busy with life, with everything in general, right? So then I proposed this problem that to my co-founders, and we all agreed on it, and thankfully they believed in me, and so here we are.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, what is the business model that's under here? Because so far I still don't have a clear picture of how the app is going to generate revenue.
Yeah, of course. So the business model, we would charge restaurants a monthly fee to promote what they want to promote on our platform to our users, right? So that would be fixed to them. And we think that we're really competitive in that field. For example, like Uber Eats, they charge 35% of commission on each takeout order, right? So, we definitely feel that we have a lot of actual revenue from customers that we could help them with by driving people to their restaurants.
I see.
Yeah, and that's the initial stage.
Right. So right now, how big is the team?
Yeah, so right now we have about 7, and we're looking to add 2 more web developers to help us with the product.
So I guess following that, because you're operating under a co-founder structure, right? So I guess a lot of people are very interested, as in like maybe there's a developer that are super technical and knows all the technical stuff, and you want to find another business partner, right? I wanted to tap into and ask a question on that. How did you find Yvonne, who is the co-founder right now and the COO?
Yes.
And I also want to get a perspective from Yvonne in terms of how did you, I don't want to say get persuaded, but hop onto the idea, of working with Peter on this project.
Right. So from my personal perspective, it's because I'm a big foodie myself, and I also found this question that Peter want to solve is very essential to people's daily life. It's also showed in the CBC News that people are actually affecting their mental health because so many people are eating alone. And I myself am a research student, and I always spend my time in the lab and then with my colleagues, but people are busy and no one is discovering the new restaurants with me. So I see this is a very big problem, a problem I want to solve for myself and others. So I see the main persuasive points, like the dream that we are pursuing. And also Peter is a great leader and very good with, very good to work with.
I see Peter nodding over good leader. So I wanted to I guess dig a bit more in terms of, did you guys meet through food? Is this the setting that you guys meet each other, or?
No, it was through a mutual friend, like where I met Yvonne and our other co-founder. Because so a lot of times I did not dive in, right? So I also looked at a lot of stories, and I study a lot of startups, and what they're talking about, mistakes that they've made. And one of the big ones was that I truly believe, don't start a business with your friends. It's because often that could lead to fights. Right. But if you go for mutual friends, then there's that, there's that mutual respect as well at the beginning.
A little bit of distance.
Right. But not to say that you should not get to know them. You still should get to know them, right? There's so many things like founders dating right now that they try to pair co-founders up, within a few days. But how well do you know someone in a few days, right? So
we're right now sitting in OnRamp, which is a joint venture between the U of T Entrepreneurship and RBC. So this is something I am very fascinated about, because this is the first time I've ever entered into a space where is solely focused on entrepreneurs, for a space for entrepreneur. And could you, I know from a user perspective you don't have a whole lot about how it came about, but could you just share with us your experience in the space?
Yeah. So I'll give a bit of a background as well for us. So we incorporated back in March of 2018, and by October 2018 we were accepted by U of T Entrepreneurship Accelerator. They're called IQ, and with them we've had tremendous support. A lot of great advice that they gave, and so part of the perks, is that, hey, we're affiliated with U of T, right? So I'm a U of T grad, and Yvonne is a current PhD student at U of T. This joint space was provided free for U of T affiliated startups, and right now they've opened up to, I believe, 4 other universities as well, including McMaster and Queen's University. So for their startups who are looking to work in Toronto, right? So I think it's a really nice environment where there's 3 floors, and you get to talk to others, you get to network with others. A lot of times they're the founders or their team members, and so it's very nice to hear people talk about what they do and to see their passion and to motivate yourself again. It's like going to the gym, right? It's like you want to be motivated like that, and you also hope that you could inspire them as well. Telling them about your story. Right?
I guess to kind of this is probably one of the last questions is since YourTable is going to launch this year in June, correct? In June. What kind of advice do you have for future prospects who wanted to start something that's similar? It could be a platform, it doesn't have to be an app, it could be something related to technology. What kind of advice do you have for them?
People, lots of people have asked me, Peter, why don't you just go get a 9-to-5 job, stable, have a social life, have a life, right? And just forget about this, right? So yeah, if you, and for sure, there were times when I wanted to give up, but it's, I believe Winston Churchill said that never give up on something that you cannot go a day without thinking about, right? So, and my passion is, my love is food and technology, and that's what I'm doing. So that's what got me through to the journey until today. Just being positive, being optimistic, and talking about the co-founders. We've learned this the hard way. Choosing your co-founders wisely in the team, right? That's when we're actually serious about forming a team. Well, a lot of startups fail because of that. And for us, so we had a co-founder who, he had some life events, so he could no longer be with us. But it was very, the reality was, we understand that, but at the same time, it was very hard for us because then we had to scramble. We had to go from developing a native iOS app using Swift to all of a sudden, okay, we got to do websites, we got to find web programmers. So just scrambling everything, right? Yeah. And I think, I really agree with Jack Ma and what he said, was that he had the privilege to meet and talk with, the great entrepreneurs like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and they're very normal people like us, but some qualities that he mentioned that one of them was they never complain, and they always looked at when something goes wrong, they don't point fingers, but they look at what they did and what mistakes that they've made. And I'm also learning to look at my mistakes, what could I have done better to avoid this mistake from happening again.
Yeah. I guess, do you have any things that you wanted to add for our audience? It could be ranging from the books that you read that you liked, any habits that you think helped you on this journey, or anything that's what you just think is worth mentioning.
From books, I would say definitely The Lean Startup. It's definitely one of the most popular books for entrepreneurship, and I definitely see the reasons behind it. 0 to 1, it's another good one. The Hard Things About Hard Things. Also about leadership, Start with the Why. That's Simon Sinek, which he did a TED Talk on that. Right. That's, I believe, the third most popular TED Talk. ever. So dealing with people with and communications, and I would say how to win friends and influence people. That was a very good one as well. The last comment is to stay humble. Find a teacher, like a mentor, who could help you out, but not someone who's so far ahead of you that their company, they're worth millions or billions, right? But find someone who's just perhaps like 1 or 2 steps ahead of you, so that they were in your shoes like not too long ago, so they could tell you, okay, what happened, what did I do? They could share their advice, right? Because if you talk to someone who's like way ahead of you, they may not remember, because they're all, it's different ballgame for them where they are at their stage, right?
So that would pretty much conclude our podcast. For all the books that's mentioned, we'll be providing the links in the description. So again, here at OnRamp. So thank you, Peter, and thank you, Yvonne, for today's podcast.
All right, thank you for having us. It's a pleasure.